With the NBA trade deadline fast approaching and the Raptors still having yet to make a trade at all this season, in this video we look at the two decisions that Masai Ujiri must face as we head towards the deadline. Let's get into it. Welcome Raptors fans to Amateur Hour Sports. This is the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors. We do a ton of videos, we do a ton of live stream watch alongs. So if you like what you see from today's video and you want more of myself talking about the Raptors in videos or streams just like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button to help us reach some new viewers and help boost the channel. But if you're wondering why I look like this today, it's because you don't come to the streams, but you can change that tonight at 6:45 p.m. Eastern time as we watch along the Toronto Raptors versus the Detroit Pistons. So make sure you are there for that. But our video today, we're talking about the NBA trade deadline and what the Raptors' plans probably will be and perhaps what they should be as we get towards that March 25th deadline. And the Raptors have yet to make a single trade so far this season, despite going through a tumultuous season where they are well below 500 at this point. They have had players missing. We don't even know if the players that were missing for health and safety protocols will be back tonight for the game, but they are struggling, and it is very clear. It's abundantly clear for all the fans that a trade is needed. We need something else about our team, perhaps a big, perhaps a wing scorer, perhaps a scorer off the bench. There are a plethora of options for the Raptors to trade towards, and I would be very disappointed if the Raptors went through that March 25th date and still had not yet made a trade. So as we head towards the deadline, what are the two decisions that Masai Ujiri is facing as we progress onward with our season? So the first decision that he has to make, it could be his two decisions. The first option being just tank. Fade for Cade. I hate that. Those three words together make me sick when people bring it up to me. Fade for Cade. I hate that. I do not want to tank. But Masai Ujiri can recognize perhaps at this point that the Raptors are 17-22 and they're playing in an Eastern Conference. It was open, but it seems like it's closing up. It seems like all these good teams are starting to figure this season out. The Nets really figuring out the team with James Harden and are running with it. I expect them to be the 1 seed by the end of the season. The Sixers look fantastic this season, could manage to keep on to that 1 seed, but I doubt it. I think the Nets will overtake them for that position eventually by the end of the season. But the Sixers look fantastic. The Bucks are an ever-present in the Eastern Conference at this present moment. The Celtics are another team who are starting to figure out, as are the Miami Heat. This Eastern Conference that was wide open is starting to close up, and the Raptors just did not have a good enough offseason. It's time that we really address the poor offseason that we had and put it on the front office. Now, I can forgive that. The front office has done so many fantastic things for this organization. Masai Ujiri has done so many fantastic things for this organization, but the offseason that just transpired was not their best. In fact, I would believe it to be their worst. We lost Serge Ibaka for nothing, Marc Gasol for nothing, didn't replace them, only brought in Aaron Baines and Alex Len as emergency guys to bring back in, tried to save money for Giannis, but a week after Ibaka leaves, Giannis signs his extension with the Milwaukee Bucks. So I can understand what the thought process was, what they were trying to achieve with that offseason. It just did not quite pan out for the Toronto Raptors. So the Raptors just understand that this season is a bit of a write-off. The Raptors are likely a first-round playoff exit team. I can't see them missing the playoffs with this crop of players. However, they could just decide that it's not worth just going out in the first round, trade Kyle Lowry for some prospects, for some picks, help build a good foundation for the future. You've got Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby locked up for 3 years after this one altogether, so that's a great core to build around. You've also got Chris Boucher in a very team-friendly contract for next season. Just work towards building a foundation for the future. Be contenders in 2, 3, 4 years, because this year is likely not our year to get it done. Just understand that things did not go our way. Maybe you can just understand and decide, let's go for a good draft pick. Even better foundation for the future. Build with a great draft pick. Maybe trade up for a better draft pick. That's just some reality that the Raptors can process. Now, the second option is the exact opposite. Let's make a big trade. Let's splash in the market. The Eastern Conference seems to have been wide open at one point. Maybe it will open up again. let's go out and get a real solid piece for this Toronto Raptors puzzle. Can we bring in an Andre Drummond? Can we bring in a Nikola Vucevic? Can we bring in a Miles Turner? Can we bring in a Zach LaVine? Can we splash out Kyle Lowry and a bunch of picks? Can we trade Norman Powell when his value is at the highest it has ever been? Why don't we trade away Kyle Lowry and go for a real run at this thing? Because, again, the Nets were kind of shaky to start the season. Maybe they're starting to figure out, but they were shaky to start the season. Can all three of those stars play together? The Philadelphia 76ers are notorious for losing pretty early in the playoffs. Now, I think they're a completely different team this year, but maybe the Raptors will analyze it and be like, okay, we beat the 76ers already this season, we've beaten the Nets already this season, and we've beaten the Milwaukee Bucks twice already this season. Can we really go at these guys when it comes to playoff time if we acquire that real solid number one piece or a number two piece to the puzzle? Like a really good big, a really good wing scorer like Zach LaVine could easily be the number one option for the Toronto Raptors team. You trade away like 2 first-round picks, Norman Powell, and maybe some other pieces. You could probably land Zach LaVine. Maybe you could pry away Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls or any other pieces. But the second decision that Masai Ujiri could face is whether or not the Raptors should really go for this NBA championship. Go for it and contend. Now, I'm not going to say my opinion just yet, but the two big decisions are whether the Raptors should just tank or where they should really go for it. Now, we're also going to add in a surprise third decision because I think that this is the exact decision that the Raptors are going to take, and that is just status quo. Nothing. It would not shock me if we got to this NBA trade deadline and the Raptors have not made a single trade. It's a reality that is starting to dawn upon me because the Raptors have not done anything. The only real trade rumors we ever saw was when Kyle Lowry sold his house or when the Raptors apparently had interest in Andre Drummond, but nothing ever came to fruition from either of those things. So it looks to me like nothing is in the back pocket. Maybe Masai Ujiri is making some calls, but he's not being very aggressive in the market, and he is happy to watch this season play out and have nothing happen and just hit the reset button in the offseason at the end of this season, see how far you can go with your current players, and then that's it. Let's recycle it and let's go at it again next season. That is what I believe to be the most likely scenario. It's not the scenario I would particularly like to see. I'm somewhere between going for it and staying to status quo. I think that one little trade would boost this team a lot. Just acquiring a more solid big for our center position. Again, I will repeat, just adding in a center like JaVale McGee, like Hassan Whiteside, like Mo Bamba would completely change the dynamic of this team, would give us much better rebounding at the rim, could probably be a better scorer on the interior, and could provide some decent defense. You know, if we really are just going to stick to status quo, then we honestly need something else in the center department because Aaron Baines cannot do everything by himself. He has his deficiency at the rim. He's been much better on defense lately, but still has his deficiencies scoring at the rim and his deficiencies in rebounding consistently in every game. So adding a guy like JaVale McGee for Patrick McCaw in a second-round pick, I believe this would completely change the dynamic of the team, would make our team a little bit better and allow us to maybe sneak out a first-round playoff win and move on into the second round. But the Raptors, with all these guys coming back from health and safety protocols, really need to fix their system. They really need to string a bunch of wins together, and I think making that little trade will go a long way in helping us achieve that. But the two big decisions for Masai Ujiri is whether or not we should tank or whether or not we should really go for this season. Those are the black and white examples of what should be done with the Toronto Raptors. At the end of the day, I really think the Raptors have nothing conjuring up here and are just going to let it play out. A big disappointment to fans. I honestly will consider this the worst season from a front office standpoint. They just didn't get it done in the offseason, and having recognized the errors that were made in the offseason, nothing was corrected over the course of the season because no trades have been made yet. I'm honestly pretty disgusted and pretty shocked that no trades have been even made yet. But if nothing happens at all by the deadline, I will be extremely disappointed in the front office. However, that does not mean I have lost my faith in them. They have pulled us out of some tough situations before. They have brought us to our greatest success, the 2019 NBA championship. And I have the faith and the belief that they can get us back to that dynamic in the next few years. We have the core to get it done. We just need the right pieces around it. And in this season, we just didn't put the pieces in place to help us be the most successful possible. But there's two decisions that need to be made, and Masai Ujiri needs to decide what it's going to be. I want to know what you guys think the Toronto Raptors should do. Should they tank? Should they fade for Cade? Or should they trade up and really go for this season? Try to be a contender. Try to be the best team possible by trading, let's say, a Kyle Lowry or a Norman Powell. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. But that wraps it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, please like the video if you like to help us reach some new viewers, and subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more content just like this. Again, we had the live stream tonight at 6:45 Eastern time for the watch long against the Pistons, and we also released merch on the channel. The link is in the description. Amateur Hour Sports merch.online is the website. Go check out the merch, support the channel, look good at the same time, and everyone can be happy. At the end of the day, I believe what I say. If you disagree, that is okay. We'll see you again next time for another video.